Jack was heading home when he spotted his wife frolicking in the water with another man. Instead of confronting them right then and there, he chose to hold his tongue. But as he stepped into the hotel room, the sight of the disheveled bedroom stopped him dead in his tracks. At that moment, a perfect plan for revenge clicked in Jack's mind. Meanwhile, his wife was completely oblivious, never imagining that her husband had discovered her infidelity. That evening, she hurried back home, and upon seeing her husband, she was utterly surprised. Nervously, she gave Jack a hug, but as she turned to leave, he resolutely pulled out a gun and pulled the trigger without hesitation. The gunshot alarmed the workers outside, who rushed over to knock on the door and inquire about the situation. But Jack fired 2 more shots towards the window, sending the workers scrambling away in a panic. He then fired 1 more round and repositioned his wife's body. He picked up the shell casings, wiped away any traces, and tossed them back on the floor. He also stripped off his clothes and burned them. However, after doing all this, he didn't choose to run away. Instead, he waited for the police to arrive. It wasn't long before they received a report and surrounded the villa. Jack calmly picked up the phone and demanded that a police officer named Nick come in to negotiate. At this point, Nick was completely baffled, as he wasn't a negotiation expert and had never interacted with Jack before. Nick was, in fact, the wife's lover, but he had no idea who Jack was or who the woman in the villa was. As Nick looked into the room, his eyes fell on a photograph on the wall, and it dawned on him who Jack's wife was. He rushed over to the woman and discovered that she was still breathing. Just then, Jack picked up the gun, and Nick, noticing the movement behind him, knocked the gun out of his hand and tackled Jack to the ground. His colleagues, who had been waiting outside, swarmed in and successfully apprehended the suspect. Nick's eyes were filled with hatred, but Jack, sitting in the police car, flashed him an eerie smile, as if everything was under his control. Upon analyzing the crime scene, the police found no traces of Jack's fingerprints on the gun they had recovered. Even more bizarre, the gun showed no signs of having been used at all. The next day, when the police returned to search the crime scene, they found that 4 bullets were missing, but there were no other clues. The suspect's hands bore no gunpowder residue, and his clothes had no bloodstains. It was clear that the police had been played by Jack. As it turned out, the gun the police had found was identical to Nick's. Jack had secretly snuck into the hotel and swapped Nick's gun. In other words, the weapon that killed the woman was actually Nick's. This explained why Jack had demanded that Nick come in alone to negotiate. He was certain that upon seeing the woman, Nick would break down, giving Jack the opportunity to switch the guns back. He deliberately created the illusion of an attempted attack, causing Nick to seize the weapon, while the real evidence was unwittingly carried out of the scene by Nick. With no new evidence, the judge had no choice but to declare Jack not guilty, and he was released in the courtroom. As Nick watched Jack walking away, he couldn't forgive himself. Suddenly, a gunshot rang out. When the crowd rushed over, they found that Nick had shot himself. The scandal had been exposed, causing his wife to leave him and his children to scatter. Under the immense pressure of public opinion, he had failed to bring the killer to justice. Just as Jack was walking out, a smile could be seen spreading across his face.